Yo, Crypto Nation and mining family, what's going on this FA Friday? What's up? What's up? We got Crypto Bedell with the FA, Crypto Nico with the Yo FA. Bedell, who takes a nap in the middle of the day? What are you, 75? Just saying, just saying, just saying. No, just kidding. Much love, fam, much love. So, what's going on, everyone? I know you guys have noticed that I have slowed down a little bit on doing all the video production and all that good stuff. Now that my big stressor is out of the way, I mean, I was sitting there and have been bleeding money here trying to get the company started. So now that I've got a lot of my equipment down there making money for the family mine, yo. So if you guys haven't checked those out, I did post a few videos. I've got some stuff that's still on my phone that I want to download onto my computer, edit it, kind of splice them together a little bit here, and then I will release that. These were directly from In the Mine. The only bit of video I wish I would have taken while I was there. It's like, glad to hear good news from the mine. It's like the only video that I wish I would have taken while I was there was when I got upstairs with Mikkel. And right above the mining room, now this building that we're in is over 100 years old. So above the mining room, there's like either it was like a storage space or like a general store of some sort. But yeah, there you could tell nobody has seen that space up there for at least 50 years. The original windows are still in there, but they put like metal siding over it, but the holes weren't cut out for it. We were given permission though, cut those bad boys open. So we might do that and make that some usable space, maybe. Almost like use it at like a clubhouse for the mine or something like that. It's like I'll share share the pics that I took from up there in the Discord. So after the stream, I'll probably dump some of that on the Discord and yada yada yada. Good. But being where the facility is at, it is a little bit warmer in there, and it is not kitted out the same way that I had my room. In my room, I had 2 exhaust fans, 1 intake window. It suited my needs pretty nicely. The only thing I would have needed to do to continue mining in the room would be to upgrade the fans that were in there to more industrial exhaust fans with louvers on them. Would have worked out a lot better. But knowing that I was going to be transferring down to where the facility is, a little bit closer to Mikkel, it's a little bit warmer there. I've got Mikkel's got 1 fan that's like what I've got here, but for as many square feet as the facility is, it is grossly inadequate. We got our landlord allowed us to borrow like a 24-inch fan. It's good, but it's like we can't seal it up to be able to direct the airflow exactly where it's at. It's like triple facts. What up, Mikkel? So with the 24-inch fan, it helps a little bit, but really is not getting the airflow that it really needs. So me and Mikkel, of course, what up, my home doge, are hoping that we just ordered up a fan. Fucking Mikkel's like, oh, this thing's heavy, dude. It's heavy and awkward, and it's big, and it looks awesome. I was like, man, I wish I could be down there to help install this, but come Monday or so, whatever, we're going to get the fan put in there because I haven't been running any of my ASICs due to I'm already having heat issues over there. I've downclocked everything to be able to handle it, but if I can get some good airflow in there, I know I can turn the clocks back up. I'm missing a few hundred hash because I'm trying to compensate for heat load in there. I had a feeling this was going to be an issue. It's like for me, it was like a kind of like a little experiment, knowing that there would probably be initial startup issues. But I had already planned on buying some fans. He's like 80 pounds worth of awkwardness above my head. Yeah, that thing is beefy. So we got an industrial fan. This should move all the air we possibly need to get started. It is like 6,200 CFM. Bro. That's the shit. Right there. Right there, guys. That is the shit. It'll be huge. So I'm hoping with that, it'll give us the airflow we're looking for. If not, we'll have to expand the hole that's there and drop a second one in. It's like, it's the bee's knees, 100%. Yo! So, I mean, the worst case scenario, we have to put 2 of them in for the facility side of it to get the airflow right. Get like a little over 12,000 CFM going in there. That will pull air through the smallest little crack. I guarantee you will. I mean, you can have a little crack in the ceiling, and you'll feel airflow, positive airflow coming in. So I got plans in there. It was expensive. The fan was like $300 and something. I think it's going to be worth it. It's like I'd rather buy industrial stuff now, get it over with, and knowing that with the industrial stuff, it's designed to be on 24/7. Either brushless motors in there, or no, these will be brushed. That's right. No, these will be brushed motors, because they are running on AC, not DC. DC would be brushless. It might be brushless. I didn't look to see the specs on the motor itself. That's one thing I didn't look at. See if it was brushed. I'm pretty sure it's probably brushed with. As heavy as it is. It's got natural magnets in there. 3.3 amps. 1/3 horsepower. So, yeah, we're just trying to get as much airflow in there, and I'm hoping that with this one fan, once it fires up, I'll be able to fire up all my other ASICs. So I'll be very, very happy. Not the brushless. Okay, I had a feel. It's like as soon as I started thinking about it, I was like, I don't think these are brushless. That's something that you usually see on DC motors. Just because brushless is less drag. AC can push it a little harder. But whatever. And that's the reason why the motor's so much heavier. You need a bigger stator in there, all that good stuff. So what's the hopeful overclocks on the fan? I'm hoping that as long as it's pulling anything above 6,000 CFM, it should be able to exchange all the air in the facility side. Probably, I would have to do the mathematics on there, but rough estimate should be around like 100 times an hour. And for that much volume of a facility, that's actually very good because that's a lot of air already. So it'll just anything to get the air to stop being so stagnant in there. Oh, that's the killer, is the stagnant air, because you start developing heat soak. Yeah, it'll be like go or blow. 100% go or blow, guys. But my man Mikkel has been awesome helping me out, because of course I get everything running. Everything's great. No issues going on. I leave to go home. We drive home. As soon, like, what was it? Like the next day, dude. It was like a couple of rigs were just having issues. And then he had a rainstorm. Then a couple more rigs had issues. Now we've found out that one of my RX 580 GPUs bit to dust. I had a power supply fail while it was here, so it had nothing to do with going down there. I had a power supply fail here. I replaced the power supply. Everything seemed to be running okay. Get down there. A little bit of a heat soak gets going on. A power store, a storm goes rolling through. And then now the car decides to go, yeah, I'm upset now. I don't like it over here anymore. I quit. So Mikkel's been very nice to help me out, getting these, being my eyes and ears, getting everything up and hashing over there. It's been stable. Knock on wood. Thank you, Mikkel, as always. So at least we got all of that. Now we just need to get airflow going on. And once we figure out how to get the airflow going on with my equipment, it'll make it easier to calculate for the other part of the facility. Because, like, I haven't gone this big before, so I'm not even... It's like, once we get the airflow going on here, heat all under control with all my rigs and everything, then I'll be able to sit there and kind of get an estimate of how much airflow I really need through the facility. Because, like, again, I mean, I've calculated it for my bedroom, and then as I was adding in each GPU, it was just like this little learning curve. You hit a certain temperature point, you needed X amount of fans. And it's just kind of finding that happy medium between it. Because, like, it's hard to really estimate through 100 GPUs and a bunch of ASICs without just going, you know what, fuck it, I'm going to go overkill. So what it'll be is I'll turn everything on, see where the temperatures are. If it starts getting a little warm again, then I know I need 2. And then, just kind of start adding it in. I mean, I have a rough estimate of what I would like to see in there. But this is also the first time I'm playing with industrial fans. So I've got a little bit of a learning curve on the new hardware, basically. So I'll get it down real quick, though. I'm a quick study. And it's like, and then if you guys have noticed, I was like, once I got back a week ago from Mikkel, and it's just, I've been doing chores around the house. I cut down a tree that was like almost 20, 30 feet tall, pine tree in front of my house, took out a bush, redid my front steps out there. So it's like I've been kind of busy doing chores that I've been kind of putting off because, well, quite frankly, it's like everybody deals with stresses in their own ways, and I deal with it by just kind of burying myself into research and into a video game at the same time. So it's like I haven't been streaming even games, even though I've been gaming and all that good stuff. It's just I needed quiet time because I was hemorrhaging money, stressed out. Now that I'm moving forward, me and Mikkel got an awesome game plan going on here. It's like goose fraba, now I can kind of chill, get back into my mode of how I was doing everything before. So expect to see some updates, more videos from me more often. I'm going to try to fire up the 3D printer, doing that stuff, doing 3D print projects, kind of pick up where I ultimately left off. So you guys want to see what's left in the mine? I organized in there too. It looks kind of sharp. So the rig that I normally had, make sure I don't have a cat right next to me, but I usually had a rig right here, guys, right here. So that rig got moved into the mining room. This was a rig that the wife requested to stay here. I love her. Um, she's like, I'd like to keep the little heater here. I'm like, I can keep the heater here, babe. And then I've got my 3090 rig here. Not the Octominer. I've got my Kingpin 3090 rig here. I mean, it's got more than just the Kingpin 3090s on there, but and then I've got my 2 test benches with the A2000s, one modded and one partially modded. And I'm thinking maybe tomorrow I'll do the rest of the modification on the other card, get that one up to its full potential, and maybe even experiment with doing the other half of the mod, which is actually putting a 6-pin onto it, so I can get external power injected into it. I'm not sure if I really want to do that. I think that one is more for the 12 gigabyte one because it can't pull enough power through the PCIe rail. This is only the 6 gigabytes, so I'm not sure if I'm going to do it to these ones. If I had a 12 gigabyte one, I would certainly do it, and I could see that that would need like a small injection of power. So I'm up on ARMS if I'm going to do that yet, but I'm going to do the front one. So all I got to do basically, because I've already done the copper mod on it, all I got to do is take the shroud off, solder that bad boy and the shunt mod in place, and put that back into the mining room. Fire it back up. It should be good to go. But yo, check it out, guys. It is so organized in there. So yes, I do have the A2000 test benches sitting on the Kingpin boxes, all that stuff. So graciously was able to get from Tech Shinji. And then on the upper deck there, I've got my Kingpins that I also got from Tech Shinji. Two of the ones with the hoses to them. One of these days, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to reorganize that and make that look a little prettier than the way that I got it. The hoses are a little long. I had it all pre-measured for my FPGA build, and it was a way different orientation, where these hoses at these lengths worked perfectly. So now they are a little long. I would like to move some of the stuff around, get everything kind of working a little better than the way that is. And then you can see over by the window, I've got my 3080 rig there. So with the 3080 rig, it's those are 4 3080s sitting over there, a Founders Edition, an MSI Trio, an EVGA XE3, and a MSI Supreme X. The Supreme X is not very nice about warmer temperatures. It's a picky one. So if you got it under full load, and you're kind of leaning on the memory, if you keep the temperatures low, you can lean on that memory, and there is no problem with getting 100 to 101 megahash on Ethereum for like 218 watts. But the moment that the core gets to about 56 C, it starts to kind of bork itself out. The rig will just kind of hang up on you every so often. So I had to tone down the overclock just a little bit on that card and the Founders Edition, because for some reason my Founders Edition will do over 100 megahash too, which I've never seen anybody else's do that. I know it's a nice setup now. I know, right? It's so nice. So I mean, it's like I've got my little network switch off to the side there. Everything is running on 220 power still. I had, before I did the move, I ordered up a third Triplite PDU. I love my Triplite PDUs. This is no shill for them. I'm not a paid sponsor in any way, shape, or form. I just prefer their stuff. It's quality for best budget friendly for what you're going to do. They do make them for 110 and 220. I'm running their 220. They are a rack mount, so it is made to go into a rack just like you would any of your blade servers, and it powers off that way. Just note that this is not the one that you can mount to the side of the rack. These are literally, it's provisioned to screw right into the rack. So you would put this in towards the backside of your blade rack mounts, and then everything would just kind of flip down and power up into that. It's not, the ones that I have are the 30 amp ones. So you can sit there and put multiple ones in there. And somebody's going to have to wait just a little bit. I call them Bayek. It's probably the guy that I'm going to have do my front tires for my truck, because I got a broken belt in my truck. Yay, the tire. My front steering, my steering was like, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, oh, I know what that is. And I don't have a tire machine here, so I can't do it myself. So I got to actually bring it somewhere to do it for me. So it's all good. It's all good. So I'm thinking that's probably what he's calling to say, hey, it's in. And when you want to do this. So that's cool. So what was I? Oh yeah. So with the whole rig set up in there now, I've got an easy way to do, if I wanted to grab another GPU or something like that, I can expand on my test bench rig. I still have my Veta frames. So, I mean, you can see in there, see, there's already 2 Veta frames. I've got 2 more sitting off to the side that I'm not using. One sitting more in front of my, my 3D printer. Right behind the camera here is my 3D printer. So I got this bad boy sitting directly in front of it. And then there's a closet off to the side where I've got the other Veta frame tucked in there. Just kind of give me walking room in the mining room. So it's like I got a few things that I need to take care of on these. Now with my Kingpin water block rig, whenever I go to redo the hoses on this, I'm going to get some more coolant for it, and I'm probably going to change out as much of the fluid out of there as I can, and put a different type of fluid in there. I'm not sure if I'm going to do EK or not, or do some more mod water stuff from Mod My Mods. Which is what I'm currently using now. I would like to change it out of my main PC, just because it's because of the way that I've got the my RGB in there. It probably will look a little. I want to get like some red fluid or something like that into my main PC, but that's just me. That's more like aesthetics than functionality. But it's like it depends on how much I lose in the process, how dirty it is, because I didn't flush the radiator out from whenever I did my FPGA build. So whenever I drain it out, if I'm going to drain it out, I want to make sure that I got some extra fluid on hand in case it is dirty. I can go ahead and flush everything out real quick and get everything back up and going. So yeah, that'll be the direction I'm going to be going in there. So expect to see some me doing videos on just kind of messing around with what little equipment I have left. I got the room open right now, and it's kind of quiet. I only hear the fans in the window. I do not hear rigs going. So like every so often I have to lean over. Like right now I can see my Kingpins if I just lean over just right to here. And I'm like, yep, everything's still going. It's so quiet. And it's kind of funny because the Kingpin rig has got deltas on there. I've got Delta fans on my 480 mil radiator. And I got a Delta blowing on the backside of my EVGA 3090 XE3 because the back of that thing gets super hot and starts to downclock. So I found that putting a fan on the backside of it, and at the time the only fan I had available was a Delta fan. So I plugged that bad boy in, and it's one of the Molex fans. So it's not your high speed, but it's enough to get some good airflow just blasting on the backside of that of the card. It works beautifully. I love it. And then that card's got the copper mods on there. So that thing has been like crazy happy. I've had less issues with that XC3 since I copper modded it. It seems to just be stable, which is one of the things that I was kind of like trying to figure out where the stability point was, because like it would be stable and then it'd get hot, and then it was like start having all the issues with it. That's whenever I put the GPU risers card on there that has a little temperature gauge on it, so I could see what the temps are right at the card. And I had seen temps at 138 degrees in there. I was just like mind blown. And that was with the copper mod on there, and it was still stable. So I was very happy how she was running after I copper modded it. If I had the money, I'd copper mod the farm. But oh my lord, to do that, I was looking at just doing the rest of the 3090s that I have in my Octominer case, and then all the A2000s. And that was over $2,000 in copper. I was like, oh, maybe not. So I will definitely, I want to do it, probably do it, but it'll have to happen later. Whenever I'm like a little bit more profitable at the company and the company can actually pay for it. This has got to be a company expense, so it can be a company write-off. And we are getting closer, guys, to having the other half of it. The landlord is like, give or take, about a month behind. So I'm hoping by the end of next month, the other half of our space will be available. When that happens, I'll fly back down to the facility. And yeah, it's go time. So if you're not in either, you have to be in one or the other. Yeah, I've got a little Patreon down below too, guys. So if you guys want to join the Patreon down there, there's 3 different tiers on there. The VIP tier gets in first, or if you're already in DCA Your Mining, with DCA Your Venture, for anybody who's new here or doesn't follow me on DCA Venture, you're part of the Patreon over there in DCA Your Mining. You will already have VIP access, early access, before we ever open this up to the public. So you can be taking advantage of more than likely lower power rates than what you're going to be able to find at home. More than likely. There are always exceptions to the rules of certain areas. You work out deals with the power company. There are incentives out there. There are energy companies that'll go door to door trying to outbid people. If you're going to do that, be careful with that crap. I know people who've been burned with those door to door energy people. So yeah, not all of them are. I'm not going to say scammy, but the way that they lock you into a contract is kind of fucked up. But that's a whole different conversation there. So, I mean, outside of that, you'll have, more than likely better power rates than what you were able to get. You're going to have professional. Is that what I am now? I don't know. You'll have me and Mikkel to look over your equipment. Mostly Mikkel at first. And then once I get the chance to be able to get a house down there, I will relocate myself down there, and then it'll be me and Mikkel running the show. Yo. I am like super excited over that. It's definitely nervous, a lot of nervousness. But that's some of the reason why I got redoing my roof here. It needs to be done. I got a little hole in the roof. And then I'm going to be redoing the siding on here, making the outside of the house look all sexy, give it that curb appeal, so that I can get ready to sell and then try to find my 10 to 100 acre plot of land with a nice house on there for the right price. Away from everybody. Well, not everybody. I just don't want to be like, being in Chicagoland area, I'm used to being able to, I can look out my window here that's right next to my mining rig, and I can see my neighbor's house. My neighbor's house, between my house and my neighbor's house is maybe 20 feet. It's like, I'm tired of having a house on top of somebody else. I don't want to see my neighbor's house. I want to know that they're there, but I don't want to see them there. That's just kind of where I'm at in my particular life now. But it'll be nice to get down there. This way, the burden of running the show is not all being centered on Mikkel. This way, we can both evenly take on the workload that is necessary to run this thing the right way. But baby steps. Mikkel is down. We're gonna go at it. We're gonna go at it hard. We survived this bear market, and me and Mikkel will be doing A-OK after all of this, guys. And then anybody who's mining with us at the facility, your stuff's gonna be in great hands. Of course, you already know that, guys. You already know that. You see how I run my stuff. Me and Mikkel are very particular. Mikkel's a little bit more wire managed than me, just a little bit. I do make messy server case boxes, but I don't the first time I initially put them together. It's go, shit, I gotta do a repair, and I'm like a bull in a china shop, and then throw it all back together. It's hashing, get it going. So it goes from looking really nice to looking like a hodgepodge mess after I have to do a bunch. Like, if I go in there a couple of times and doing repairs, usually it ends up in resulting of cutting the zip ties off, and then it never goes back on. Because then I got a little lazy because I was just wanting to get everything back and going. It's like 2 a.m. when I'm doing this sometimes. It is what it is. But like my 3090 rig, that thing that I got here, that needs to be desperately cable managed. So that will be a video that I will be doing with you guys here. I've got a bunch of content sitting there right now, ready to go. So we're gonna go through all of that stuff. I will not do any of this without being on camera. This way, you guys get to hang out with me, and yeah, you guys, you get to hang out with me and watch me kind of do the things that me and Mikkel always say, hey, make sure you do this, make sure you do this. So I'm going to go through, and it'll give me a chance to clean all the, kind of lightly dust everything. Yeah, my main thing is that just needs to be organized so badly. Wow. So we'll get that all going the right way. I have a few ideas of how I want to do that, but the first thing I got to do is I got to order up some more coolant for it, so that whenever I pull everything apart, I can put it back together, fill it, and let it rip. That's my goal, at least. That's pretty much all the updates that I've really had going on during this past week. Like I said, I've still got some film on here that I've got to go through and kind of do the editing, final editing, post it to YouTube. So Yeah. On other things, if you guys don't watch Gamers Nexus, he's cool people, love his content. He does a lot of testing and all this good stuff. He was able to get his hands on an Intel Arc limited edition, so that we're kind of figuring this is probably like for demonstration purposes, or is their limited edition gonna be like NVIDIA's version of the TI or AMD's version of the XT? Hard to say because they haven't done a discrete GPU in forever, guys. But it looks like now I had made a comment while I was at the mine. I'm like, I think the ARCs are going to be, the Intel GPUs are going to be no better, no worse than a 3060. And then I was sitting there talking to a friend of mine, and he was wanting to build out a rig too. And he was talking, he's like, oh, what about the Intels? And I was like, they're going to be right up there with a 3050, 3060. It's hard to say where they're really going to fall. Depends on how well they've got the optimizations going on. I feel that Intel is going to make a decent product, but this is going to be the first time that they do a more dedicated driver for display. I do like the idea that it's got 3 display outputs on there, 1 HDMI. So it's got more of the way that the more modern PCs are being built with, using DisplayPort. Of course, if I was making a GPU, I wouldn't even fucking put an HDMI on there. That's for TVs. This isn't a TV. And then my thought on that is the fact that for every HDMI plug that they put onto each individual product needs to have licensing for it. So if you make, 10,000 of these and you're paying $10 per license, you're talking $100,000 in the price of that you got to sell to people. I'll just 86 it and put the open sourced DisplayPort on there only. And if people don't like it, you can get an adapter. They could adapt from DisplayPort to HDMI, and that would suit anybody else that, But I would not be including it on here. And it would help with a little bit of the pricing too. Then you don't have to worry about pathways to it, dumbing it down for HDMI. Well, I don't know if they dumb it down for HDMI, but you don't have to have all that dedicated circuitry in the board. So, I think overall it'll cut costs down a little bit. I wouldn't cry if they made HDMI no longer an option on GPUs moving forward. I know some people will be crying about it because they're like, "Oh, I don't want to have just that," and it's like, bro, it's just better. The cable is better. Whatever. I might be biased. I think DisplayPort's way better, but that is me. But I'm more interested at the end of the day, not on performance or output. Well, performance, yes, but the display outputs, what's on there, I can care less about that stuff. But I do like the simple look on this. I'm a minimalist when it comes down to it. I don't need to have all the flash. Before I put the EK system into my PC, I call it murdered out, where it's all blacked out. I had all the RGB. Anything that lit up, I turned off either in BIOS or in software. It's like, to me, I don't need to show off any of my components. I do have it on now, but it's like there's so much RGB on all the stuff. I'm like, if I got it, I might as well use it. But I have provision being that if I set my computer into mining mode, all the RGB is off. That's the way that I run it, at least. But I do like the look on this. It doesn't look like they're doing the pass-through cooler like AMD and NVIDIA have been doing for a little while now, with just kind of allowing stuff to kind of just pass through the backside. The performance on there, again, it's right on par with a 3060. Now, these are probably cherry picked to make themselves look good. So I take a little bit of the stuff with a grain of salt. But they are doing true 1440p, which is 2K, which I do, for me, that's relevant, since I do have a 2K monitor sitting right in front of me here. I did see some of the gameplay from the F1 2021. It looked pretty decent. But again, it's like if you're on it's like, to me, if you're anywhere in that 3060 to 3080 range at this point, you're going to have a great experience for display output for gaming wise. So where do I think this thing will fall mining wise, though? I think it's like you're probably, at first I would say you're probably going to be in that 3050 Ti status, or 3050 status on this, 2 to 3060, and it's going to be up to the developers for all the mining programs to, once they optimize it for these, I think it'll start hitting up closer to the 3060 status. So you're going to be that's like right around 50 mega hash, which, depending on the wattage at that point. Now, if they can keep 50 watts at around 100, between 40 to 50 mega hash at 100 watts, I'll call that a pretty decent mining card, depending on price. I would like to see that hash rate. I would like to see value in it, between not being bad versus a good value for mining. I would say that if they can get it to where around 60 to 70 watts, hashing around 50 mega hash, that to me will have better value. That means that they've made a very efficient card under workload. That will get me a little excited. I mean, I'm gonna get one whenever they become available anyway. So I mean, that's a gimme. It's gonna happen. I'm gonna get one of these. Okay, so don't worry, guys. I will have one to test out, and I'll try to get a day one launch for the U.S. I mean, we already know that they're already out in that Chickadee, China, which isn't. It might not be a bad thing, because if it's already released in the China market, right, that's where a lot of the software development is. So odds are that a GPU mining facility already has their hands on this, and somebody is already trying to optimize for this, add in the drivers into it. So I would probably say that, probably in the next few months, we might see an integration on that. It also depends on how quickly they roll out the ARC GPUs worldwide. So that I'll be very much glued to, because I'd like to get this day one launch. Even though it might not work, I might be in the same situation that Mikkel was whenever the 1660 Ti's came out. I got the ROG Strix. Mine worked, but with like basic drivers. Mikkel got the MSI, and he couldn't hash on his for a month. He probably could have rolled it into Windows and mined on it like that, but he just set it off to the side for the time being, and till the drivers finally updated, and he was finally able to run on that thing too, and that became a very nice card for him. But he had to wait for the optimizations and the it being added in. I was having all sorts of issues with my 1660 Ti, where if I had a bunch of 1070s on there, it was pulling up as if it like, if I put it, it didn't matter where I put it in the lineup. If I put it on there, I couldn't run more than 3 more 1070s without having fan control issues, power limit issues, or just plain out rig instabilities with or GPUs that just never showed up when you rebooted. So I'm thinking that, being that it's an Intel, you're not going to have a drivers that are going to be going haywire like that, like me and Mikkel experienced with the 1660 Ti launch. But I think that there's a bigger possibility that, unless they roll out an update soon that integrates the Intel support on there, that that the ARX GPUs might not mine day one launch in the United States. Possibility. I'll risk it. I'll grab it. It's like the worst case scenario. I'll sit there and start running benchmarks on it. I'll do gaming benchmarks on there, just because like I'm highly interested in that. It's like, and then if you sit there and do you get a better performance if you hook this thing up to an Intel platform, so it's Intel and Intel playing with each other with the optimization between the CPU and the GPU, or it's like, what happens if you plug it into an AMD board? Are you gonna performance hits? What's the difference? Is it negligible at best? Within a rounding error. I'll be very much interested in that. So expect me to do stuff like that. I don't care how unstable the card is. I kind of want to play with it, especially since it's got a really nice look. The A750, it's going to come with an 8-pin and a 6-pin. So I'm surprised that they split it up like that. I wonder if they've got a good overclocking headroom on there, and that's why they did it. Or they were just trying to more or less just power balance, or were they trying to isolate power? Like, this goes to the VGA core. The 8-pin goes to the VGA core for the brute force over there, and then the 6-pin is for the memory rail. Did they decide to just absolutely split power up so you had dedicated power rails within the card? That would be an interesting feature that I don't think I've ever seen anybody do. Because even with the AMDs, back in the day, you were able to sit there, and if it had an 8-pin and a 6-pin, you only needed to plug in the 8-pin because all the power all funneled back into the same spot. So it didn't matter. You can run it off the one. Where like NVIDIA has it where the card, if it doesn't sense the power going through a particular rail, then it won't initialize the card. But if you look into the circuitry, a lot of the power still kind of comes together. It's just that they have it all coming together in the very beginning of it before it comes out. And then as it comes out, they start splitting it up like immediately on the card. But it'd be interesting if if Intel takes the idea of completely pulling the two powers apart, where they are true independent power. So you would have your PCIe power plus your VGA power ports. That would be interesting. Not that it would change how the card operates or anything like that, but it would power balance it on the card a little bit differently. So without having any diagrams of how they're doing this, I'm only speculating at this point, but I'm hoping that that's the route that they took. They could just be doing it as the standard as everybody else, and power runs in and then gets distributed out immediately like that. We'll see. We shall see. Whenever I get one, I'm pulling this bad boy apart and I'm tracing PCB pathways, if that's even fucking possible. Because, like, if you get a lot of, you get a good PCB density, you'll never know unless you get a schematic. It's like, I would say, if they are on a 12-layer PCB board, I might not be able to tell the traces. And now if they're on an 8-layer PCB, I usually got a good chance because you can kind of still see the raised indentures for the pathways even below, because the layers are pretty thin. So we'll have to see. We shall see, guys. And then for any of you guys that are on Intel boards, and you are already running a 6000 series motherboard, MSI has announced that they are going to be releasing a BIOS update on all of their 600 series motherboards to be able to support the next generation Intel chip, guys. So if you've got the M Flash or the Flash BIOS button, it'll be easy. Otherwise, if you're just, if you're looking at purchasing an Intel board and you're wanting to grab one of these so you can get the next generation stuff, you'll have to buy the generation that's out right now, and then you can flash over, and then you can get the new chip to go into there. Unless it's got the M Flash or the BIOS Flash button. I know on AMD, whenever you see that, you don't even have to have a CPU in there. You just put a USB in there that's got the BIOS already on there, hit the button, it does its thing, you're good to go. So that's basically what they're saying here. If you are buying a new platform and it's the 600 series, because you're like, hey, I'm going to be doing this budget wise and I want to make sure that I can upgrade later, you can buy the board, DCA into that now, and then use your current PC or use a friend's PC, get the BIOS onto a USB, and you can just slot that USB in there, press the Flash BIOS button on there, and then you can start assembling. So just kind of be careful of what platform you're doing. Now, if you already got the 600 series because you're like, I'm doing a preemptive strike, I want the next generation stuff, I want the best gaming experience, then you're gonna be looking at it from this perspective and going, hey, look, I've already got the CPU. Just BIOS flash it right now. You don't even have to wait at this point. You should be able to go on to some of the, not all motherboards play nice with this. So some of them will allow you to do the BIOS. It'll search through BIOS, talk back to MSI or whatever manufacturer motherboard you have. Some of them will talk back to them, get the most recent BIOS. You can select it out of the list. It'll do it. My motherboard, my Threadripper board, it has this feature on there, but it doesn't work on mine. It's actually a known issue, but it's such an older board. It's an X399E board, gaming board for the Threadripper series. So it's an Asus ROG Strix for first gen. This was a little quirk about it. So I got to do all my BIOS updates through USB. Big deal. But I've it's like this Intel side of it, it's like it doesn't bother me none because I'm not an Intel CPU person anymore. I haven't had an Intel CPU in like at least 15 years. At least. I swapped over to AMD a long time ago. Just because I like their stuff for workload experiences. I wasn't exclusive gamer for PC not until more recently, and my Threadripper I have no issues with, especially with a 3080 Ti with a water block on there. I'm like golden. So if you guys are like looking for all of, if you're an Intel person and you've already got a 600 series, expect to see the new BIOS update releasing out here coming up pretty soon, so keep your eyes out on that, especially if you're wanting to update into the new CPU. If not, this doesn't even pertain to you. Even if you're on that CPU lineup, if there's nothing wrong with how your computer's running and you're not planning on updating to the next generation CPU, there's no necessity to update your BIOS. You don't have to have your BIOS always updated unless you're having instability issues, weird boot ups, weird blue screens. Then I start looking into, okay, are there any of these issues due to a issue in BIOS? If the answer is yes, then that's when I go after updating BIOS. Otherwise, it's like there's 2 updates for my motherboard. Have I done it? No. Am I having any instability issues with my PC acting funny? No, not in any way, shape, or form. So, it's like, if it ain't broke, leave it alone. That's my model. It's like, unless you're thinking you're leaving performance on the table, but you're not going to get that through BIOS on your motherboard. These are used, BIOS is on the, updating BIOS on motherboard is to fix inherent problems, is the way that I do it. So if there's no issues, leave it alone. I mean, unless you're looking at a security issue and you're, and there's a security update in the BIOS that you need because you're running it as a server, that's a whole different thing. But, for gaming wise, everyday, my daily driver, if it ain't broke, I leave it alone. So that is pretty much all the updates that I have. So, I mean, I went over that, a little bit of news. So I'm going to get back into the swing of doing like a little bit of news here. Whenever I can get my hands on it, doing rig updates. I mean, for what little mining I got over here now. It's so small. There's like almost nothing there. Like almost nothing there. It's so quiet. But guys, definitely smash that Lizzie like button, subscribe, hit the bell notification, all that good stuff. Helps me out with the YouTube algorithms, guys. I'm going to go ahead and we're going to call it here, guys. So if you guys like to watch some gaming, want to kick it with me a little bit gaming-wise, I'm going to be doing that a little bit later on tonight on Crypto and Hot Rods Gaming, which is my new side channel. I've only got 1 follower over there, guys. Give me a follow over there if you like chit-chatting. I mean, you can even sit there and you catch me gaming there and you got a rig question, you got a crypto question, hit me up over there. I've got Crypto and Hot Rods on Twitch. So if you like that stuff too, yo, what's up, MC? Yo, FA. Everybody drop them FAs in the Chizzity chat. Because you guys are all rated F for fucking awesome. Yeah, MC, you are so late. It's all good, brother. It's all good. I'm just getting back into the swing of it, man. I'm just getting back into the swing of things. So I plan on, getting back on the doing all my YouTube stuff like I used to, where, it's like, if anything, I'm going to at least pump out a 10-minute video, Monday through Friday. I'm going to leave the weekends up in arms for in case the wife wants me. I get the honeydew list from the wifey or the wife wants to spend time with me. I'm not going to sit there and dedicate the weekend, especially a Sunday, to doing streaming. No. So if I happen to have time or something like that, cool. Otherwise, Monday through Friday is where I'm going to start focusing back in on. And yeah. So with that being said, guys, I'll definitely catch you all in the next one. Peace out. And like always, stay savage. Yo! Peace.